Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. Bottom right hand corner, we got Stork starting as the red Protoss. Upper left hand corner, we have 4GG starting as the blue Terran. So every once in a while, you do have top level BSL players ending up against the Korean pros. Obviously, Stork the heavy favorite here. By the way, this is on Polypoid. So Stork obviously the heavy favorite in this match, but I like both these guys. Terra known for being very, very aggressive in his Terran play. Has a lot of crazy stuff that he throws out there. Not sure if he recognizes. It's one of those things. I wonder if on the ladder, when you're hitting the top level, you kind of in the A borderline S sector of things, do you start recognizing the like, oh yeah, that's pro gamer, this person, and therefore try to adjust your level of play accordingly? Not sure. Pylon along that edge, maybe to go for a. We'll see what this turns into. This could turn into a 14 Nexus. This could turn into a gateway on the low ground. This is going to be cross spawn. 14 Nexus would be the optimal, or 12 Nexus would be the optimal build for Stork. We'll have to see. We'll see what Terror is up to. Terror, it's hard to predict his play. Sometimes he's going drop, sometimes he's going quick factory pushes, sometimes he's going for some sort of mid-game economic thing, but kind of the Bago builds guy. Really enjoy his style of play regardless, though. It looks like we are going to have a low ground gateway, an initial scout to the bottom left-hand corner here for Stork. Barracks alongside the command center just to play it safe in the initial stages. And let's see if we're going to go ahead and get an so second pylon before assimilator here as well. So probably going to see some early game zealot pressure rather than so I'm guessing this is going to turn into gateway zealot into Nexus potentially here for Stork. We'll have to see. We have a gas down early here. Terra wanted to avoid the gas deal and opting to go for less economic build, heavier tech build. In the meantime, Stork is going to be able to get towards his base. We'll see if Terra goes for cross map scout initially. First zealot queued up. Now we have that gas building behind it. So the zealot, I presume, primarily going to be defensive. It's challenging to get damage at cross position, but Stork is a pro gamer. It's one of those things where. Also, another thing they notice is like you can tell whether a guy's a pro gamer or not by how he micros the workers here. So SCV already has taken a considerable amount of damage. Probe is going to have to back off because of that. Marine, however. Terror scouted up right in corner first. It looks like that zealot is going to come across the map to go ahead and harass. He's going to be there by the time two Marines are there. We'll see if he gets any kills out of it. Cybernetic score about halfway finished here for Stork. So he is opting to go ahead and... excuse me. So he is opting to go for tech rather than going for a faster command center faster Nexus, despite being at cross positions. So not skipping the cybernetic score, opting to go ahead and get that cybernetic score first, and going to go ahead and drop the Nexus behind it. Zealot and a probe now going to push their way forward into this, which able to provide the scouting information. Fortunately, that SCV gets picked off, and that factory just a few moments away from finishing. 2 SCVs killed. Both by that probe. What a hero. 3 Marines now trying to chase down. The Zealot's taken care of. The probe is taken out to at least mitigate some of those losses. And instantly a machine shop dropped. I think that second factory was spotted in the midst of this as well. So Terra going for a 2-factory push against Stork here. In the meantime, Nexus has been queued up. We got an initial vulture and range as well. SCV finally, so went top right, scouted bottom left, got nothing. Terra at least is going to be able to confirm the Nexus as he's making his way down. So sees the gateway, sees the Nexus. Nope, I was about to say might get lucky, might get on the edge of that to get some of the elevation and a misfire. Was going to have to rely on the 1 out of 255, or it's like 1 out of 255 shots misses generally in this game, which is bizarre. Maybe just not make it a pure math game. 4 Marines out here, but 2 of them are heavily damaged with some decent micro. Stork could pick off 2 of them without decent micro. He's going to end up losing that Dragoon. Double machine shop, so we're probably going to see, I'm going to guess this is going to be like the 3 vulture, handful of siege tank, or the 3 siege tank and handful of vulture rush. Never mind, looks like it's going to be vulture. Yeah, 1 Marine picked off, sees the initial siege tank, so knows something's up. And it looks like with that siege tank spotted, Terror just going to go. That might have actually been the calculation there. I think this might have been just a single siege tank regardless, but I think upon having that the Dragoons on the forward field, he's like, you know what, forget it. Right now, though, with 2 Dragoons, this is a bit of damage. as soon as this third Dragoon comes out, they can halt this very rapidly. The SCV is scrambling down there, getting a little bit far away from the Marines. The Vulture is not grouped up with this attack force. Stork has plenty of damage here and just trying to delay a little bit, and Terror is delaying, having to turn right back around because he doesn't have the damage against the 3 Dragoons. It looks like 2 Vultures were able to sneak through the corner on their flight path though. Wow. Catching Stork off guard. The mine able to take out a Dragoon. We have the shield battery along that corner. Second mine picked off, and this is going to shut down that natural expansion. And the Vultures trying to tempt these Dragoons are able to tempt the Dragoons into a mine. Another one getting hit, and all of a sudden this is looking like a great rush from Terror, trying to batter his way up into the main. More mines planted on the edge. The Marines having to scoot their way back. Range is finished, by the way, but all sorts of mines planted as units spawn. Terror needs to be a little bit careful as they're produced. It looks like an initial zealot is being produced. This is, and we do have 2 additional gateways here to the north, so this gateway is going to get picked off at the very least. I don't know if there's enough damage to take care of the Nexus, and there's still the shield battery, although the shield battery is powered from the high ground, keep in mind, so not unpowered with the pylon up on the high ground. An observer right there to help try to pick off some of these mines, and it looks like Stork is going to lose the gateway, but he's going to hold the Nexus. And Terror, unfortunately, siege tech finishing in the midst of this. Kind of slow reinforcements making their way across, and just not a lot of reinforcements otherwise. Oh, yeah, so I think this is going to be it, though, for Terror. It was exciting initially, but now this is just going to get cleaned up. He's sneaking in, and now he's just flat economically behind is what it comes down to. Able to get at least a few additional kills, but still doesn't have his command center up in the midst of this. And he's got, yeah, a group of trailing troops with that shield battery and that observer and this many Dragoons. Stork is held, so shouldn't be too much of a problem. And a couple of Marines in the midst of this as well, just trying to produce, looks like what he can. Observer making its way across to see whether this is a full commit. And I think Terror absolutely recognized the name. So he was like, okay, yep, this is Stork. Let's go ahead and go for the attacks. Ugh. So might be able to, if there's a brilliant mine, maybe this works. But otherwise, no, I don't think, even with the, it looks like Terror's trying to get a foothold here near that third, get some troops up and maybe go from there. It'll be maybe wait for the 4 siege tanks to press against this. Even still, with the double gateways continuing to produce troops, robotic support bay out, and a Reaver with a shuttle soon to be on the way, and an observer directly overhead spotting everything, I would be very, very surprised if this worked out for Terror. And the observer actually even sees the lack of the natural expansion, so knows that Terror is effectively all in the midst of this. 2 zealots interior, just a much stronger economy for Stork as well. Tank slowly sieging forward in the midst of this. A lot of Marines in the midst of this as well. And I'm waiting for kind of an interesting spread here from Stork. He's got the observer at both corners to make sure if there's like a cross attack, and he's Dragoons to deal with it, but also Dragoons to collapse on the position if these dive in a little bit too far forward. But once that shuttle is in the mix, which missing it, shuttle now in the mix, it's a completely different ball game. Actually, a lot of Marines to deal with this, but the Dragoons scooting up. Reaver's going to be able to get a shot off. Oh, gets a lot of Marines with that initial Scarab. Siege tank. So we got 4 siege tanks left. Still a Reaver and a lot of Dragoons, and 3 gates now up, and that shield battery. Going to keep a lot of this healthy, and as the game drags on, Terra's still sitting at 22 workers, still trying to press his way into this. Has a siege tank up on the low ground, is at least hitting that shield battery, which is something. Getting a turret established as well. 4th gateway dropping. We now have 2 Reavers in the shuttle. I don't know if these 4 Marines are going to be up for the fight. All it takes is, Stork has to be a little bit careful though. In the midst of this, shuttle speed now. They're in the midst of it, starting to move out. This is again with slow zealots. Keep in mind, the Reaver sneaking from the north, going to be able to deal with the siege tanks from that corner. Yeah, he's just peeling this apart, getting some misfire on the high ground, but the Reaver is quickly able to sneak in across. Shuttle wiping out all the Marines and completely cleaned up that attack force. That should be GG. speed shuttle and Reavers, actually second speed shuttle with Reavers up. Terror's not going to even be able to hold his natural expansion, let alone his main, as far as what remains. And Stork just has a strong enough economy that he can just flat out macro him and outproduce him in the midst of this. Some defensive mines laid, some turrets being built as an emergency measure. We do have a couple turrets out to the corner, but there's still a pocket that Stork can drop, and you better believe he's going to drop. Yeah, he just knows how to weave through a lot of this. Going straight after towards that SCV line. Woo, actually sacrificed a Reaver in that shuttle, and actually did kind of an exchange right there in the midst of it. So lost 2 Zealots, lost 2 Reavers as well. So, but in the meantime, the rest of that attack force, could be he just didn't care. The rest of that attack force just walking into this natural expansion, going to be able to take out that siege tank on the high ground, even with the misfire rate, is ignoring that command center right this second. You can just kind of walk back to it as an after effect. Reaver going to make its way back up to try to get some additional damage done. So now that command center going to be further delayed. Some additional Reaver shots. Terror GGing, recognizing his base is completely breached. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.